The Magicians is an adaptation of Lev Grossman's trilogy of the same name, which aired on Sci-Fi and has been cancelled after 5 seasons. This might be the only time that a fandom was responsible for ending the show that they loved. So The Magicians has been described as Harry Potter and the Quarter-Life Crisis. The show starts with Quentin Coldwater getting a mysterious admission to Brakebills University, an adult Hogwarts. Quentin is a fan of the Fillory books, a Chronicles of Narnia type story. He is overjoyed to learn that magic is real and that his favorite books were based on real events. At the university, they have a house system, you could call it, based on the person's talent. They are placed into disciplines: physical magic, psychic magic, illusion, healing, knowledge, and natural magic. When the teachers can't figure out what Quentin's discipline is, they place him in the physical category. He and Alice get to the physical kids' cottage, the residence of the students of the physical magic, and they have to pass a test to get in. They do. Over the course of the school year, he makes friends with Elliot and Margot and acquaintances with Katie and Penny. Now, Quentin's best friend Julia also gets an invitation to Brakebills, but she doesn't get accepted, and according to policy, they erase her memories, but it doesn't work. So now, desperate for magic, Julia joins a group of magicians who practice magic without any formal guidance, the way that the Brakebill students do. And this group of witches are called the Hedges. The Hedges are mostly made up of students expelled from Brakebills or the ones that didn't make the cut. Quentin soon finds out that he and his friends were going to have to save the world from a monster known only as the Beast. A monster from the world of Fillory. By the end of the season, Quentin starts questioning if he was supposed to be the quote-unquote main character. This show has some of the best world building I have ever seen. The different types of magicians, the types of magic, formal histories and multiple worlds like Fillory, the library, mirror dimensions, netherworlds, fairy realms, underworld, etc. Quentin was the closest thing to an audience stand-in while being the main character. A fan who got to visit the fictional world he'd always wanted to, like many of the audience. He was the type of character it was easy to get attached to. So naturally, the fan base was enraged when the creators decided to kill their favorite character. To add insult to the injury, Quentin was depressed and suicidal along with being bisexual. So here we have the bury the gays trope and the self-sacrifice of a character who was shown to be suicidal trope. Disclaimer: everything I say in this video is based on the show itself and a little bit from Tumblr. I do not follow the actors or creators of this show on any social media at all. Now, this show has been praised for its varied representation of character ethnicities and struggles. It was a magical show that could have been done without these tropes, but it discussed various important topics anyway. So when this type of a show kills the character that has been trying to kill himself even before the beginning of the show, it is a betrayal to the audience. But that doesn't mean that you can't give a chance to the new team dynamic that might arise after such a loss. Every single one of these characters had more complexity and nuance in one season than many others have in their entire run. Okay, so story time. It's season 4 finale, and Quentin has just self-sacrificed himself, and he asks Penny 40 if he actually did something, or did he just manage to kill himself after all this time. So for anyone who has ever struggled with depression and suicidal thoughts, this would resonate powerfully, as it did for me. Penny 40 takes him to see his friends, and we see the beautiful rendition of Take On Me. I was sobbing when this episode ended. My mother thought I was going crazy. And at the same time, there was something else. Something final. To me, only from the canon, Q's death felt real. It was sad, but something about it was peaceful as well. And as I do every time I logged on to Tumblr, I figured the fans would be upset, but what I saw was straight up anger, and that anger didn't leave or lessen even after the premiere of the new season. The fandom was still hating on the creators, which is okay to a degree since they lost their favorite character, but what I saw was straight up vitriolic. The show was being boycotted before it even had a chance to explore this new dynamic without Quentin. The Magicians has been a good show with intricate lore and real characters. Each character had a personal struggle that was real. Quentin had depression and suicidal thoughts. Julia was sexually assaulted and she had a hero complex. Alice was a controlling know-it-all with ego issues that arose from her parents and toxic relationship issues. Elliot was self-loathing and self-isolated by building walls. He was a junkie and alcoholic. Margot had anger, self-doubt, and a dubious moral code. Penny was the cool guy who didn't catch feelings persona, and he had parental issues. Katie was a drug addict and she had self-destructive behavior. Josh had self-image issues and confidence issues. Finn was a mother who lost a child, a female character married for political power. Dean Fogg had alcohol addiction. Every single character had faults and were working to overcome them. But what the fandom got attached to was Quentin was dead. Are the writers entirely in the right? No, I don't think that they are, but that doesn't mean that you simply boycott a show, especially one where the other characters were far more interesting than the so-called main character. I loved Quentin and was deeply upset at his death, and I still am. When he tells Penny if he actually stopped the monster or if he just found a way to kill himself, that hurt. The line haunted me for days, but I didn't start complaining about it because this is how TV shows work. If they hadn't done it, someone or the other would have eventually complained about plot armor. And it wasn't like they made it all okay. Every character that had a relationship with him is still mourning him. Julia takes the new quest because of Q. Elliot is broken because of Q, and so is Alice. The moment they had at the well was heartbreaking. Alice always knew about Elliot, and she knew that Quentin was messy. They aren't taking away anything from who Q was. Since the vitriol against the writers didn't stop, the producers canceled the show. And I can't blame them, that's just good business. And the people harmed here aren't the writers. They have other things going for them. The people really harmed are the cast and the crew. All those people you see on screen just lost their jobs because their fandom only cared about one character. And you can tell that the show wasn't yet supposed to be cancelled by how the storylines in the final episode were open-ended. Julia and Penny trying to find their friends, Elliot and Margot separated. The show wasn't supposed to end like this. This was clearly a season finale and not a series finale. But now it is. The happy endings that all the fans wanted won't be realized because the fandom clung to one character, like their life depended on it. Sometimes characters die in shows, and it always hurts. But if people had stopped watching TV shows every time something like that happened, good shows would stop being made. The only stories to be told would have all the plot armor, and then the audience would stop watching them because it's unrealistic. Moreover, I heard that Jason Rolfe wanted to leave. The ending for Q was talked over with Lev, and he agreed to it. I'm not saying that the showrunners always know what's best, but as a writer myself, I wouldn't have killed a character if I didn't think it fit, if it didn't feel right. So what do you think? Are you upset that the show got cancelled, or do you think it was the right decisions on the producer's part? What do you feel about the fandom's role in all of this? Subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Sending love. Toodles!